Maybe we love the beach because it's a stupendous space. At sunrise, you can feel the ponderous ball of the planet leaning toward the light into the day. At low tide, the beach widens until it's wet to a mirror reflecting the sky back up to itself. Walking the sand, where the water sparkles sapphire and turquoise, whether it's chilly or blazing, foggy or bright, we are renewed. And maybe we love the beach because we carry the sea within us, a heart full of ocean pumping, a rhythm, a rhythm, a rhythm. What makes an artist an artist? Artists are the people who have this little weird idea and they act on it and they keep acting on it, and regardless of the consequence or the outcome, something amazing unfolds if you stick to it, if you keep doing it. And it doesn't matter whether you're a businessman or a dentist, it doesn't matter. The people who invent things and think creatively in this world are the people that really affect change.
One of the coolest things for me is seeing different cultural interpretations or personal interpretations of the same message, where you have essentially this simple idea of not trashing the planet, or orientation around single-use plastics, minimizing that, or reusing that. The essence of that, the activists and just the artists all coming together around the same idea is really magical. It's almost like democracy. It's everyone participating in this big idea, and it just keeps getting more and more powerful everywhere.
The surfer ethos is to usually protect their wave, protect their break from people coming in from the outside. They don't want their break to be overcrowded. They want to keep it to themselves. So essentially, I want to take that a step further and protect the break, the beach, and the water itself by raising awareness of the debris that's washing up from the ocean onto the shore, showing people that it could be elevated from debris into fine art.
We want to entice people with the beauty. We want to ensnare them. The innocent passerby that didn't even know they wanted to wake up in the morning and see art may pass by our windows in SF MoMA. They go, what is that? And then they move forward and they go, what is that? And then they go, oh, what is that? And they step back and you see this marvelous dance of people moving forward towards the beauty and sort of recoiling back again, going, oh my God. And then they move forward and they go, oh my gosh, that was once my whatever, my toothbrush. Oh my goodness, I'm implicated in this cyclic return of this stuff.
I guess leaving Australia and going to travel to other parts of the world, that really opened my eyes up. And I remember one critical moment for me was I learned about a place in Indian-administered Kashmir. And there, the waste that was being generated by Westerners was being dumped over the side of a mountain and into this pristine wilderness because they don't have systems in place to manage that waste. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, you got to do something. If you feel empowered to do something, you got to run with it. So for me, that was a pretty critical moment.
I would say about 5 years ago, I came to Eleuthera on vacation and was walking along the beach and I saw the surf line. where you have just kind of the very pretty, the foam, the shells, the pieces of seaweed. And then in there are the very, very tiny pieces of colored plastic. And it was fascinating because part of me, my initial reaction was, oh, how pretty. And then my second reaction, my kind of common sense reaction was, well, that's not supposed to be there. Even though it's pretty, it's not supposed to be there. And then I started kind of thinking about it and realizing what it was. And I went from seeing the plastic, tiny piece of plastic in the surf line to kind of looking all over the rest of the beach and realizing there was plastic everywhere.
One of the beaches that I like to visit, there's always all this junk that's washing up onto the shore. There's plastic bags, there's sea glass, fishing nets and stuff. And I always look at it and I think, you know, it's kind of a shame, first of all, that this stuff is just floating around the ocean and then it's washing up on the beaches. But I also thought, you know, some of it's really interesting.
We find things from all over the Pacific Rim: disposable lighters, combs, brushes, juice lids.
This is something significant. Something is going on here, and that this one beach can tell the story of the whole planetary mess.
Yeah, so this is a jar of 3 shovelfuls of sand on the Big Island of Hawaii, on a beach called Plastics Beach. So we took 3 shovelfuls, put it through a strainer, and filled this. You know, so that took, you know, a minute. And if you look at this closely, it's all plastic.
There's a lot of publicity out there about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's constantly referred to in the media as this floating island of trash, which I know from research is not the case at all. It's more appropriate to refer to it as a plastic soup. So I guess I also want to go out there with my own eyes and with my own photography and video equipment and show people how it is. And left the apartment, things are all boxed up, and yeah, heading out to open ocean and crossing 5,000 kilometres of you know, huge expanse of seas.
The gyres are just the normal currents of the world coming together. So there's, you know, currents that in some places spin. And if you think about throwing anything into a stream, it just follows the current. That's the same thing that happens. Our trash goes from land and just follows the currents. And the Plastics Beach on the Big Island of Hawaii just happens to be potentially the best land representation of the gyre, where the currents come together and then spin out onto this one beach.
When you think about, like, you moved out to Australia when?
In 1951.
What are your memories of the beaches? Do you ever remember the beaches being clean, dirty,
Oh,
beautiful?
Clean. It was all lovely.
I think it's the transformation of something that has been thrown away, and I'm finding it in that magical place that is away, which is the beach. And I pick it up and I first take ownership of it, and with my experience and my talent, I create something that becomes even more desirable.
People come in the store and they see the pieces, they just, you know, they fall in love with her story, and, you know, and the pieces of jewellery, because the colours are amazing, the way it's washed, you know, and it turns up on the beach just eroded, and the rainbow of colours of the plastic, it's just amazing.
I don't know if we really had a goal. We just wanted to see, by bracketing a quantity of time, what would transpire in that time, how much plastic we could pick up, what we would find, and then out of that, what would arise, what would the creative process evoke.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were going to
We
make.
didn't,
We
yeah.
had no idea, but both of us have you know, at that point had 25 years in the studio, and you know when you have an attractive material, something's going to happen. And that was in 2000. And the information from Charles Moore about this plastic island, the North Pacific vortex, the garbage patch, whatever you want to call it, that information started coming through and nobody believed it.
So when you're out there and you're looking at the ocean surface, and it might look pretty normal, but when you pull up the trawl samples, you see these tiny pieces of plastic. And that's when you start realizing that this really is a big issue, because here's this plastic, this substance which is designed to last forever, yet we use it in our homes and then we throw it away. Yeah, I think ever since man put pen to paper, he's been writing about the love affair with the sea, and it's a funny relationship, because you're ultimately out there when you're surfing, you're trying to conquer the waves. But if you're like me and you grew up and were in the waves from a very young age, you learn pretty quickly that the ocean is not to be conquered. The ocean is there to be respected.
Yeah, I mean, every problem, whether it's an apocalyptic problem or anything else, can be turned on its head and looked at it as an opportunity. And, you know, the positive element of crap on the beach, of plastics at the high tide line, is that it's visible. It's finally visible. You know, it's not abstract. It's not floating around somewhere where people aren't going to see it. So when we were at Rio and the Samba band, I was literally doing the cleanup alongside everyone, and people would start picking up the stuff right next to them because they finally saw it. They were listening to the lyrics, clean beach is a healthy beach, and then they would help by saying, oh, here's a candy wrapper, here's a cigarette butt, oh, that's my cigarette butt. And it was visible to them. There was a solution. So there's maybe 1,000 people on the beach over there. And if you could ask all 1,000 if they're going to show up and do a beach cleanup, the answer's gonna be no. You know, a single-digit percent, 3, 5, 1% would do it. But if you ask them if they love the beach, they're already at the beach. They're having an awesome time. So if you can turn that experience into a positive kind of party and then bring in environmentalism, that on-ramp of, hey, I love this, I should care for it. That's the essence of Surfrider. It's protection and enjoyment of what we love, the coast.
You know, being a surfer, it feels good and it's fun to make surfboards. I really enjoy it. But the thing I didn't like at the beginning was the toxicity of the foam and the resin. So almost immediately I started looking for different ways to make a surfboard and look for natural materials to redesign a surfboard to show that it can be sustainable, it can be environmentally conscious. So now that I've kind of gotten my design and my process down with making the wooden boards, you know, either with the honeycomb core or the recycled EPS, I kind of want to take it a step farther and start incorporating some marine debris and driftwood that I find on the beaches to kind of promote the use of found objects and turning something that used to be trash into art. That way people can see it and be inspired to do the same.
If I see problems that are affecting the amenity of my playground and my temple, it does really concern me, and you actually can do something about it. And Take 3 is just asking anyone and everyone who visits a beach or a coastal area or a waterway to, if they see a bit of trash on the ground, to pick it up. You know, we were born with 2 hands, and they're really good tools for picking up a bit of waste.
Oh, when I was your age, oh yes, there was plastic around, but of course there hadn't been about 15 years before. I first remember plastic round about when I was about 14 or 15.
What was it?
Well, it was called Bakelite.
You know, plastics by themselves aren't bad. It's not like plastics are bad. What's bad is a disposable mindset of, we're gonna use something once, whether it's a bag or a bottle, and have it be around for 1,000 years, forever.
It's really important that you understand that there are really great uses for plastic: eyeglasses, hips, knees, all kinds of medical innovations that never would have happened without plastic, that greatly enhance the human condition. It's just that single use, quick in a flash and it's gone, kind of indiscriminate use of plastic that we really believe has to stop.
What I like to do, and the way I like to think of what I do, is introducing a sense of ownership into single-use plastics.
Every piece that we do has inherent in it responsibility. Oh, that was mine. I have a choice to make. I don't want to take that scoop of ice cream tasting with this spoon that I will use for 4 seconds and then throw away.
You know, a lot of this plastic that's around us is based on convenience and a perceived need of that's the only option, but there's other options, because our parents and our grandparents and the people who came before us, they didn't have this single-use plastic and their life seemed all right. So if we can just kind of be a bit of a voice to kind of curb that a little bit, I think we've done a really good job.
I think for me, it's the stuff that I find on the beach isn't trash. I just see potential of how I can utilize it. What can I make out of it?
Everybody should be doing this. Everybody that has a sense that they want to create something, pick it up, make something out of it. You can make anything.
If someone devoted themselves to only the tiniest problem on the planet, all of those tiny pinpoints are accumulated, something really grand could transpire.
My grandmother, you know, she's an inspiration. She's really embraced travel. When you ask her what's your favourite place in the world that you visited, she said, the one I haven't been to yet. And I reckon I hadn't even thought of that before, but I'm happy to take that mantra on as well. You know, just, you know, understanding what the complexities of the world. You know, you can grow up in a little bubble in your area and think that's your world, but we're part of a much bigger picture, you know, and it's important we know that.
real marriage of the insides of a person and the outside of a person. And how are you going to take action? And we know that action happens when you are in love. It's just the truth of the world, that you don't do things out of fear. The long-term action comes when you're in love. And for us, it's being in love with each other. It's being in love with this place that's so beautiful.
And in love with the planet, let's not forget.
Yeah.
That the person, the place, and the planet is really the whole love story here.